Hello everyone, my name is Joshua Mason and you are watching Mason Wine and Food. Today, this is actually our first video today. I'm going to talk to you about something really simple, something you can make quickly, or if need be, get from a good takeout place. But I'm talking chicken curry today. I'm also going to talk about the wine to pair with these. Let's make a long story short and say Petite Sirah and Riesling. Why? Petite Sirah is a deep, dark, big, fully tannic, just monster of a red wine. The reason I personally love it with spicy food in general, it is the only red wine, in my opinion, that can handle that can handle spicy food and just beat it down. Chicken curry is a great example of that. It's, like I said, it's big, it's unforgiving, it's spelled differently than Syrah. That's the main difference. The other one being Riesling. Now here I have a German Riesling from Basman-Jordan. And before I forget, this is Bradley Vineyards Petite Sirah 2017. The Basman-Jordan is just a really nice basic Riesling. It's not too sweet, it's not exactly dry either. Good rule of thumb for Riesling, always pay attention to the alcohol percentage. This guy right here has about 10% alcohol, so we're going a little towards the sweet end of Riesling. Now, if you can find a German Riesling that goes 11 or 12% in terms of alcohol by volume, that is a dry wine going to the verge of bone dry for Riesling. I suggest this in a heartbeat if you like white wine. You like crisp, clean taste with tropical fruits. The Riesling's where it's at. If you can't find one from Germany, go over to Alsace next door and find some. You can find some in any grocery store from Trimbach if you want to. But there are other ones out there like Zinhumbrecht and a few others. Washington State makes a few nice ones. California's okay. But really Alsace is where you're going to find the driest of the Rieslings, unless you can find something from Germany that has that kind of dryness to it. All right, so we're going to get into shredding some vegetables. We're going to get into cutting and dicing, and we'll get to that right now. All right, so as you can see here, we have red onion, red peppers, garlic. We have shallots, knob of ginger. We have some serrano peppers, some zucchini, some cinnamon, and if I haven't put it up there already, you're going to see it on your ingredients list there. And we're just going to get into it. Don't really need to use a bowl for a lot of this, since we're going to put it right on the pan. These are some vegetables that have a nice water content to it. So we actually want to cook that off. And it's going to start with shredding the zucchini. All right, when you get to the garlic here, if you have a whole clove like this and you want to break it up, just a little trick, I'm sure most of you know, if not all of you already know, just pop the top right there, kind of expose the top of the clove, and then pointing away, just come down on it until you can separate. And it comes out pretty easily after that. Now, I don't know how much garlic you enjoy in your recipes in general. I like a lot of garlic, and well, we're not going to do the entire clove here. I'm going to pick out, I'm going to say 5 cloves of garlic. Do one, don't do any. It's your dish. Do whatever the heck you want. All right, next thing I like to do, you can either chop this finely if you want to, but going with whole mash theme, I'm going to use a garlic press because we're going to use this a couple times. It's not exactly a one-trick pony. I'm going to do this for, well, obviously the garlic, but I'm also going to do it for the ginger. All right, now for the ginger portion. probably gonna use this knob right here. I'll make it easy to press down in my garlic press. So I'm gonna cut into 3 pieces there. Ginger, if you don't know, is very fibrous, and it needs to be cut down to this smaller size so that you're able to cook it, because it's gonna be really tough, just like eating raw celery. You wanna be able to get it down to a more cookable size. Now in this we're going to use, we're going to separate this from everything else because we'll add the ginger in later. So we want all the juices from there. I'm not too proud to admit when something doesn't work. Now, I was using the garlic press for the ginger, and it's fine. It's a bit of what we would call in the culinary world a pain in the ass. So I switched it over to a regular shredder. Most people say use a microplane, and you can, and that's perfectly fine. Worst comes to worst, if you have a box shredder or a shredder like this, there's a finer end of the shredder. Just use that, and you'll get plenty of ginger for your recipe. Now we're gonna get to the fun part, which is taking care of the chopping. And I'm doing this for a reason on camera, in that you can make your curry as spicy or not spicy as you want. If you want it to be spicier, when you cut your chili peppers, leave the seeds in. The seeds are what give the pepper the bigger part of the heat. So I happen to live with someone who despises heat. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these seeds out so she doesn't kill me. All right. If you get a couple seeds in there, that's okay. All right, next we're gonna do the pepper. Now, there are a few ways people like to chop up their peppers. Just chop them. Here's the way I do it. Take a small bottom there and cut along the wall. If you cut along the wall, you avoid the seeds entirely, unless you have something, the stem just popping out there. But you would avoid the seed pods in its entirety if you just cut along the wall, and then you can throw this away whole. And I'm gonna julienne this, but before I do that, I wanna prep the pepper and get rid of this rib meat here. The reason I do that is because it tends to have some bitterness in there, and I just simply want it out. All right, when we cut skin side facing the board. You don't cut with the skin side facing you. Why? Simply put, it's much easier to cut into the pepper. Do this as fast or as slow as you want, just do it safely. Remember to use the knuckles on your non-cutting hand as a guard to protect yourself from cutting down on yourself. All right, last thing. Actually, not the last thing, just a little bit more just a little bit more prep before we get everything going on the stove. And the last thing here is prepping the chicken. Now, these are 2 chicken breasts, and I'm going to cube them. If you're having any trouble cutting through the chicken, I took this out of the refrigerator a little while ago so it'd come a little bit closer to room temperature, so it can get a little bit of a pain in the butt to cut. If it does, squeeze the chicken together. I don't know if the bowl's in the way there. Squeeze the chicken together. Otherwise, you're just kind of going at the whim of the knife and you just hope it's sharp enough, which it is, but simply squeeze the chicken together and cut through. Keep a clean workstation. That's why you clean the counter beforehand. I'm so glad I did. All right, the next part is before we go to cooking the chicken and the vegetables, let's get the rice out of the way. So anybody who makes curry recommends that you do basmati rice when you make your curry, and so do I. But if you have something else, if you've got whatever, it's rice, you use what you have, and just go with that. First thing we're gonna do is gonna rinse all the rice off. All right, well, I'm trying to figure out how to get a proper camera angle for this. I'm just going to use my stand and show you what I have. Now, if you saw from earlier, we put all over shredded zucchini, red onion, I put the green peppers in there, and garlic, and that's all I have in there. We have our ginger to the side, and we have our peppers to the side here. Now, we're gonna use through this process, we're gonna use chicken stock, we're gonna use coconut milk, and we're gonna use, they call them San Marzano tomatoes. It's from the US, so it's legally not San Marzano tomatoes. And then we're gonna use some curry spice mix in some garam masala. We're gonna use a little bit of cumin. And if it gets too hot, I'll back it down with a little bit of brown pepper. So let's get to work. Now that we have the chicken in, I'm just going to sear it. I'm not going to cook it fully. It'll cook it to its entirety once we put everything together, because this curry is essentially a stew. So I'm going to do a light cooking here, turning the heat off in momentarily. Turn that heat off. See how our rice is doing. Our rice has come to a boil. So we're going to lower the temperature on that and start the timer. Like I said, 20 minutes. It should be more than enough. Just want to cook the water out. Let some of that cinnamon from that cinnamon I was talking about a moment ago. I'm gonna let that get in there, kind of infuse it with aromatics. And if you want to, I'd advise this, spread as much of this out in the pan that you can. That way there's more surface contact with direct heat, and the water can be cooked, steamed out a little bit quicker. So we'll let this go for a few minutes, and then we're gonna add just pretty much everything else. So we're gonna assemble everything together. We'll put the chicken in, we will put chicken stock in there. I'm gonna put the peppers in there now. And then we'll add our tomatoes and coconut milk and more garam masala and finish this plate off. Back to you in a moment. All right, we just added the chicken. I think this dish looks amazing. It smells pretty incredible too. The ginger is really coming through. So, all right, next thing we're gonna do is add chicken stock. Add about a teaspoon of cumin to that. And along with that, I'm going to add the tomatoes. These San Marzano style tomatoes bring a little bit of sweetness to the dish, a nice amount of acid. In a moment, I'm going to add the coconut water, or coconut milk rather, excuse me. And we'll, for all intents and purposes, we will be done with this dish. But I want this to reduce just a little bit before I do that. Now, how do you think it's going so far? We're going to find out, because you should always taste your food as you cook. Obviously not the raw chicken, but I'll bet that it's cooked now. And we'll see how this goes. That's really good. All right, we're getting near the end here. We have a little bit of reduction, as you can see right here in the ring. I want this to be as healthy as possible. So basically we're cooking all vegetables, 1 protein, and a can of milk. Turn the heat off. And just stir this up. And that smells like heaven. All right, we've got this stirred in. And we should check on our rice, because it's almost 20 minutes. And it is 20 minutes. Let's take a look at our rice. Our rice looks ready, and as I told you, the star anise pods come to the top, so we can easily just take them out. And it gives this aromatic quality that's just, I think it's amazing. I love to use this in white rice, especially when I'm doing it with a spicy dish. And now we just have to try it. So we'll make a nice bed of rice here. And there is chicken curry, the non-takeout version. Let's try it out. Delicious. All right, that's all. Go and get a Petite Sirah or a Dry Riesling. Pair it up with this dish. Try this before you try anything else. Give it a try. I know you're going to like it. Have a great day.